we were born present. And so contrasting of who we were when we were 3 or 4 or 5 years old, there's no filters, there's no fear. We have no idea what the consequences are. And all of a sudden we start getting indoctrinated from mom and dad and school and society, and we forget who we are. So our goal is supporting people and learning simple techniques to get people back to their present moment.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. It's Rick Nusky here. I'm the host of this wonderful show. It's great that you have joined us, and all of the feedback that I've been receiving and reading through just warms my heart. So thank you very much for supporting the show. Now on today's show, I'm with Karrie Klimas. Welcome to the show, Karrie.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Yes, fantastic to have you here. Now, for everybody who doesn't know Karrie, you soon will. She is a self-discovery, life mastery coach, and we're going to be talking about, amongst other things, self-discovery, communication, relationships, and networking. But before we do any of that, Karrie, it is customary for us to stop a little bit and go left of center a little bit and talk a little bit about your personal life, things like where you're located in the world and what you like to do in terms of your pastimes and recreation. Do you have such things?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. So what do you like to do?
Others to do the same.
Oh, yeah. So what do you like doing with yourself in your pastime?
Oh, well, first I think you asked me where I live. So
Yes.
I do live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm a native Floridian. I'm 20 minutes from the beach, for anybody who's envious.
Oh, very
We've had,
nice.
we've had a couple great days. I actually went to the beach yesterday and walked around and had a nice meal at a local taco craft and watched the people, and a band was playing. So that's
Oh,
one of my favorite pastimes.
I'm growing green
Um,
already.
Dancing, dining, socializing, pampering myself. So it's like this Friday, I'm getting both my hair and my nails done from two different people, but I deserve to, look and feel good, not only inside on the outside as well. So I treat myself to those things too. So watching movies, relaxing, people know people.
all of those pretty standard things that we value so much, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
And
Exactly.
this is quite relevant to our conversation because later on in the call, I want to talk about reducing stress and anxiety. And I think we've really quite literally touched on some of the ways that we can go about doing those things. But you have had more than 12 years of intensive networking experience, retail sales, marketing experience, and presentation skills. So I wonder if we can, I guess, look at your professional background and walk us through, I guess, that side of your life, that journey.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I mean, I got a college degree and I did the corporate world for about 18 years as an administrative and then more of an executive assistant because I realized I'd make more money taking care of one or two higher execs and less problems to have to deal with. So I was always very good on managing my calendar, taking care of other people's calendars and staying very organized. And then in 2004, I actually started with my first network marketing company, which was Creative Memories, as well as Party Light, which is a candle company. So I got involved in multi-level marketing, and that's when I found out about, personal development. People were saying, read books, follow people that have skills and abilities that you want to have more of. Follow successful people, have what they have. But I guess you could say a lot of us take notes or what we read and we don't know how to apply them in
Oh,
our
yeah.
everyday life and to create that ideal result. So
Yeah, well, I wonder, given you've talked about following people, who are some of the, I guess, the leading lights in your life that you like to follow?
well, I mean, I come to, not most people, I should say, people are going to know because I've been part of our company, Self Discovery Life Mastery, since 2011. So I've got a team as well as other team trainers that have been around a while, plus plus founders. So I would say I follow the ones who have walked the path before me that are in our work and consistently always, hosting additional workshops for us to be more like them and, taking on what they're mastering. Because for us, it's everything's brand new. We're all doing the best we can right here in the now moment and creating an evolutionary, world of our vision is to create an enlightened civilization. So
Fantastic.
supporting
Now,
people to be more here in the
I'd love
present.
to obviously unwrap that quite deeply during the call today, Curry, because I think it's really at the core of our conversation. But you also talk about this is part of this achieving this ability to achieve work life balance and self love. Is that part of this self mastery?
Yes, because we're a common denominator in everything. So however I feel about my car, my house, my body, my health and well-being, my career, my family, my intimate relationship is how honest I can be about it and how good it's going or how not good it's going. So then I can actually know how to make a change. But most of us don't know how to make that change. We're stuck, but we need a little guidance. And that's what I do to support people so they can feel that more of that fulfillment in both their personal life and in business.
I've done my
And
research and I've spent some time looking, Kari, at your website and looking at a couple of things that really stuck out for me is being able to give and receive three things deliberately and effectively. And we're talking obviously about some of the ways you can do that. One of the things that we don't tend to do well is necessarily is help others. Would you agree with that? And what are some of the things that you're suggesting that we can do better there?
well, first and foremost, help yourself.
Hmm.
You can't, if you're not selfish and taking care of your wants and needs, you're not going to be any good to help others fulfill their wants and needs if you don't fulfill yours. So just like when the plane goes down and it's, thinks it's going to crash, the masks come down from the ceiling and the first person who's supposed to take that mask is you. And then you pass on to other people. Too many
Yes.
people, especially women, help other people first and aren't knowing how to take care of themselves and they get resentful.
Hmm.
So knowing how to take care of our wants and needs and letting other people know that I am going to be selfish so I can be more selfless.
Yeah, that
So,
makes a lot of sense because that plane analogy is so very relevant. Not only from a personal safety perspective, but like you say, you have to help yourself before you can help others. So thank you very much for providing that insight. I saw some quotes on your website that really stuck out for me, and it's something that I personally and those that I've worked with often get stuck with, Curry, and it's living in our own thoughts. Are we in a trap when we live in our own thoughts, and how debilitating can it be for us?
well, we were born present. And so contrasting of who we were when we were 3 or 4 or 5 years old, there's no filters, there's no fear. We have no idea what the consequences are. And all of a sudden we start getting indoctrinated from mom and dad and school and society, and we forget who we are. We were born present. So our goal is supporting people and learning simple techniques to get people back to their present moment, because I have thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. I have a body, I'm not my body. I just happen to have sensations in my body and I have thoughts. Doesn't mean they're not, I'm not identified by them, but most people identify themselves through their thoughts. So I could say a thought could be, I'm a loser, sure, but I'm also brilliant, but I'm okay with being both. I forgive myself for the loser that I've been, but I'm going to shift my attention, get back on to being brilliant. I can choose at any moment which one I prefer to stay in, and knowing how to stop telling myself I'm no longer a loser. I'm a brilliant loser.
Well, look,
Laugh at ourselves.
this is really really good news for a lot of people because we get caught up in this constraint of the mind, the construct that we've created through indoctrination, as you've spoken about, Kari. And I think it's really important to talk about the concept of time. What's your I guess your view on time?
Well, the time is now. No
Mm.
better time like the present. So time is your enemy. So in our world, time is like a feminine. It can be, who wants to be in the waiting game and wait for something to happen, wait for somebody else, wait for this. So people wait for so long that they take the time and they're not always willing to take the time and do it now and take action now. No better time like the present to take action and getting more of what you want. I mean, I walked into Walmart one day and people at the entrance were actually turning around and going out. And I said to somebody walking out, a guest, I said, are they closed? She goes, yeah, but you can go right through here. I'm like, okay. So I walked right through the exit and kept on going and found a cart, grabbed my list and got my goodies. And I was in and out of Walmart in 12 minutes. So I did not let my thoughts stop me or time get in the way of me getting what I needed to get done. So
So
I just kept going.
you make the rules, don't you? In many respects,
Exactly.
there are always going to be rules that are governed by external forces. What do you say to those situations where you really still want to take mastery over yourself and your decisions and the outcomes, but there are those external forces that stop you from achieving those goals? What is the methodology there?
Well, nobody can stop you but you.
Mm,
That's your thoughts, and you think somebody else around you is going to stop you. So that's a lie,
mm-hmm.
because that's you're making all. Let's just say that you talked earlier about the thinking. Well, thinking and cell phones are the major problems in most people's lives, because when you're present, you're not thinking. You're just observing and being aware and discerning what's going on. Then you can have from clarity what you feel like to be the next best step to take. So the more present you are, the more you can go, oh, there's a right now in front of me, I have water, and I also have coffee. Well, I can look at both and say, well, which one would I like to drink right now? There's neither right or wrong which one I drink, but which one do I prefer? So I'm just
Absolutely.
discerning what I have, not saying either one is wrong, but the mind will go, coffee's got might be cold, the coffee might be diluted. So the mind will start making opinions about everything rather than trying trust yourself and just drink it.
See, a lot of people go through life as, I guess, the observer in a movie theater rather than the driver of the bus. Would you agree with
Correct.
that?
And that's what we're here to do, is put the more when you're either in your head complaining and stuck, or your attention is in the present moment, which we train people in exercises and how to be in the present, so you can be more in charge of yourself and your life, and all of your resources are available to you when you're present. And you can do one of two things when you're present: take yourself down or put yourself in the forward moving direction. Your choice. But most of us don't know how to do that. I mean, I always ask parents, like I had a woman today whose child's like 4. I said to her, how many times have you had your child cry and you shifted them to make them laugh? She was like, many times. I said, exactly. Can you do that effectively to yourself or to somebody else? No. Right. Because the little kid's not going, mommy, mommy, I was just mad and pissed off. I want to stay mad. I am not going to let go. But as an adult, trying to get somebody to let go of something and seeing to shift their attitude and get their attention focused on the ideal isn't always easy. And most people aren't willing to put that time and effort into somebody to do that or know how to do that effectively.
This is a fascinating call, Karrie. Thank you very much for spending some time and sharing this because, we talked about, well, you mentioned earlier about being indoctrinated from, I guess, the moment that we pick up a mobile phone, we start observing and being, I guess, that audience member. How long does it take for somebody who is indoctrinated, let's say they're in their 30s or older, how long does it take to unlearn, and can we unlearn and relearn these new techniques? And how long does that take?
Well, I mean, I've been on the journey. I'm 52 years old, and I'm always learning, always inspired to keep learning some new things about myself. So there is no end in self-mastery. I'm still here to keep mastering myself so I can keep mastering getting better results in areas that I'm not seeing or do see, but I don't actually know how to change it, or what part of me is going, oh, Karrie, you're looking at a negative situation. Good awareness, Karrie. No, now what are you going to do differently? Oh, Karrie, I'm actually going to change my attitude right now and say, hey, I appreciate this person, and get all my attention on appreciating them so I can create a better outcome. Good job, Karrie. That's very nice of you. Now get on that. But that's a mature attitude, and most people don't always have that mature winning attitude to know what to do and change it and make sure they're going to go out and create that, make that happen.
See, there's this thing that we know about called the locus of control. Is initially that would be external to us, and the world's happening around us and to us. Where in actual fact, it should be inverted, shouldn't it? We should be looking at life the other way around.
Well, we would say a lot of people are seekers. They're seeking for answers out in the world, and actually we're seers. Your true potential is already inside of you, but nobody's showing us how to tap into our true potential and live our highest and ideal life. And we don't come across too many people that around us that have been that journey or know how to support us in that, because they've never been down that way. It's like my parents come from as teachers, and then I'm the only solo person in my family that's actually an entrepreneur. So they'll put their judgment on me thinking, oh, it's too hard. You can't go out and do that. You got too much time and wasted, and you shouldn't do that, because of their fears. But they've never been there. So they're only trying to tell me about their fears rather than me trusting myself and the corporate world let me go in '09. I said, bye, I ain't coming back.
See, that's a
I don't know
very
what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep going and figure it out.
that's a very toxic word, isn't it? Can't. So
Correct.
how important is it to, I guess, delete that sort of self talk, and do you focus on the powers of self talk in this approach that you use?
Well, well, everything we talk about is again self-awareness. If I'm not aware of what I'm saying, then how can I be aware of any changes? So yes, Henry Ford said, either can or you can't. You are correct. And so when people say, "Oh, that's hard," well, what if you change that one word to easy? I know it's not easy to start saying that, but what if you could and start focusing your attention on it's easy, and every day is easier. It's getting easier. It's getting easier. Like I'm sick, but I'm healthier and healthier and healthier. I'm not talking sick anymore. I'm talking I'm unhealthy. I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I'm healthy. But
I'd,
again, we're not always aware of what we say to create the ideal results of what we want to focus on to create what we want.
I'm listening to this, and one of the things that popped into my mind, Kari, was I guess some of the success stories that you've had. Because it would be profound. Somebody was going through a very negative phase, and then they've started to implement this life changing process. Let's call it. What are some of the dramatic turnarounds, and how have you seen people's lives change?
Well, I mean, what people experience, with me is being able to have living life more in the flow, having greater mental clarity, being able to express themselves, being more authentic, more discerning, more deliberate, more peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I myself, I used to play invisible. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't value myself. I didn't respect myself, but I allowed it. But I didn't know how, HOW, to change it. I didn't know how to build that confidence. I didn't know how that little voice in my head was lying. I had to be nice to everybody because I was afraid that if I said anything wrong or bad to upset people, that I actually would not have a friend anymore. I lied and told myself this story for many, many
Wow.
years, but until I went through this work, I'm like, oh my God, why do I say this to myself? Hello, Karrie. Hello. But again, this is what being present and self-aware is, not for somebody else needs to tell me. I've got to be going, what does that little voice in my voice telling me today? Like even, I enjoy talking to people. Like I'm glad I'm talking with you because it gives me a sense of getting back onto my empowerment and motivation. But when I'm by myself, I'm not perfect. I don't know
Yep.
anybody else, but I have that little voice that can I'm going back and forth. Negative talk, Karrie. Come on, Karrie. Why are you doing that to yourself? Get back into the winning attitude, Karrie. Come on, get back on it. It's like a training exercise, like working out the football game. I'm on the game going, oh my God, I can't believe I just lost. Well, let's get this game going and keep moving forward, Karrie. Hello. So
I wonder, Carrie. You talked about your parents being an influence before, and it leads me to start thinking about um, the people that you, I guess, hang around and listen to is just all so important. What do you say to those people who are, I guess, feeling a little bit trapped by the negativity that surrounds them from their family members and close circles of friends? What should they do?
well, if they've got somebody they're inspired by, somebody who they feel they look up to and respect, I say give them a call. The more you can get yourself out of, being around people that are negative. But if you got a friend who knows a friend, call the friend. I
Yeah.
mean, you might not know them personally, but I mean, when I started getting out to the corporate, the networking world is where I started meeting people and I started following a guy who was doing a lot of networking. So I just hung around him as like, this guy must know somebody. I'm going to go wherever he goes. And then I started networking and meeting people. And that's how I met my trainer, it was from a networking event. But I knew it was in a place that I was stuck. And she said to me in 2011, what if I could show you a way to quiet your mind and allowing you to discipline your attention, focusing, creating a business that aligns with your skills and abilities and learning how to let go of things and people that don't serve you. You mean you're actually giving me a visual that I can actually have a life that sounds really good? It's like looking at a menu and it sounds really tempting. But if I don't sign up for you today, I'm going to be back on my same hamster wheel. No, thanks. I can't do that. So I committed to my highest and best and I never looked back. So it's been the best investment to follow somebody, a human who's mastered the steps before us, because there's a lot of people that read things in books, but find a real life human being that you can talk to that doesn't have any judgments that can guide you. That's what I am. I mean, I don't have any judgments. I'm here to guide, support, and hold them accountable to, create some wins. And if you have some challenges, okay, we'll go through them and we'll get you living more in the flow and, living much more happier.
We are
But
we are social creatures by design, aren't we? So it makes absolute sense to have somebody there to guide you, to help you develop personally and professionally. Now, I have a question about the power of the pen. Do you find that there's much usefulness in putting pen to paper and getting your ideas and thoughts out on paper?
absolutely, everything we do is on pen and paper because the goal, like I had a woman the other day, I told her to take the paper and divide, draw a line down the middle of the paper. And one side of it, I said, write down the things and let me know what they are of the things that are not ideal. And so then she wrote down a few things and I said, okay, let's practice that exercise to be more present.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, now let's get your attention on the other side and let's go and create the ideal. What would you like to create? What would you like to be? So this job you have, she's like, oh, I had a career once I made $150,000. I said, okay, well, let's go out and make that happen again. You've done it once before, you can do it again. So, but she wasn't also spending quality time with her family and even by herself. So what if you could learn to balance and create spending some little bit of money to start getting yourself moving forward and finding that ideal career and balancing your family life by working with me for 8 weeks. Imagine what could be different. If
Yes.
obviously you're expecting to get paid 150,000, that will be paid off in a short time frame.
In quick time. Now, we talked about mobile phones earlier, and we talked about being a spectator in life, essentially. If we're being bombarded by all of these external sources like television and any type of communications, what are some of the mechanical steps that you suggest people take who are getting overwhelmed with options?
Well, first sit down with themselves. I'd say sit down in nature. Like you also said earlier about writing things down. That was one of my awarenesses before. And I became aware of something. I was talking about somebody negative. So writing things down is very important. Goals, action steps. I'd say get out of nature and, write down. Now let's pass to what you told me.
No, would you suggest that people switch off from technology? Because they're getting
Sure.
bombarded.
Oh, yes. I would say, look, if take 30 minutes and go through your phone. I do this. My phone's always on silent. I do not have my phone ever on. I don't care. It's silent. But also go through the apps on your phone and what ones are really important to keep and which ones aren't important to keep. Because cleaning it up gives you a sense of freedom of getting rid of things that no longer serve you, even on your phone. Why have all those apps if you're not really using them? I mean, I only had 3 screens. I would not go any further I would never create a 4th screen. I would keep deleting things before creating a 4th screen that has my apps. My most important ones are on the first page, and then, like Uber and Lyft on the second page, or the parking apps, or the apps where I go and sell products, or on OfferUp or something, or my bank account. But those are on page 2, and then maybe page 3 might be something I hardly use, but I mean, Dunkin' Donuts, I didn't use all the time, but knowing now that I've got a credit with them, I'm like, and they're around the corner, I'm like, I think I'll put my Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks on the first page.
So it's all a matter of prioritizing what's important. I can see
Right.
that.
Well, that's what, yes. I mean, putting what you use and I mean, I don't get how people do it, but that little red dot that's on my phone, I make sure all those red dots are off.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I will not, I can't stand how well, even people who have email, they haven't checked with 40,000 emails and that little
Oh,
box is 40,000. Like, why don't you just delete that account?
you're never going
Like,
to
if
see
you're not
them.
even looking at it, why are you keeping it? Because that's
Absolutely.
actually a distraction for them because they see that number and they get overwhelmed and then they won't even bother. So why don't you just delete the whole thing and take it off your phone?
Thank
Why
you for
bother having
sharing.
it?
I think these are very practical steps for improving our lives. Now, I get the impression that you've seen a bit and you've struggled through a few things and you've had exposure to people who haven't necessarily brought out your best self, and it's a credit to you, all of the work that you've done. Now, with that being said, as a balanced approach to everything that you are doing, the work that you're doing as a self-discovery life mastery coach, we obviously need to look at the mind, the body, and the spirit. I wonder what your day looks like. Can we run through that as a practitioner so that people can get an idea of the type of life that you actually live?
Sure. I mean, today I just had a couple calls on Zoom. You're my third one. So, but my time during the day, I was also practicing, like I said earlier, when I get by myself, sometimes it's beat up Karrie cell time, but but getting, knowing what I have to do to create, getting back in the flow, getting my attention on winning, whatever I have to do to create that and make that happen, getting back to living that purposeful life. That means getting out of my head and my stupid lying stories about myself. And tomorrow I have team training with my team. I've got a couple Zoom calls scheduled. I attend some networking Zoom calls as well. And then on tomorrow night, we've got, I'm a lead trainer of a workshop called Great People Skills. And anybody who attends our workshop actually has complimentary unlimited skills training practice. So
Mhm.
tomorrow, every Tuesday at 6:30, our graduates are back on Zoom, and we pair them up into getting to pay more attention to their other person and learning what their attention gets pulled back to themselves and finding on paper write down the enemy that's within your head that stopped you from giving the other person 100% of your full, clear, neutral attention, because that's the purpose of finding out, like, what is that little enemy telling me to myself.
Oh
So
yeah.
let me identify that enemy so I can write it down and go, aha, I caught you. Now that you caught that enemy within, now you can go back and create more of more ideal results.
See, we have
And
what? How many? I remember hearing a number of thousands of individual thoughts that we have in a 24-hour period. We have very, very busy minds. Now, it's just fascinating, this whole conversation. Now, I wonder, given that you've talked about, bringing out your best self through this program, would this apply? How have you seen this positively affect people who are maybe struggling with their weight, and can it positively affect the outcome there for them as well?
for what part? I'm
For
sorry.
body size, body weight, they
Oh,
have a
sure.
perception of self that maybe they want to improve on. Because I know that this is a fairly big challenge across the world.
Yes. Well, I mean, what we call, a lot of people might say affirmations, but we want to call them intentions, because I can I can say this because I believe it. I believe it to the core. Now, whatever you decide to believe is, good or bad about yourself. So I believe I'm my ideal weight. I am 125 pounds, and I stay focused on that number. I like my body. I like the clothes I wear. I appreciate myself for whatever I have to do to commit to keep that my ideal body weight. But so getting people's attention on, on the ideal, it's like somebody might say, well, I want to lose um, 20 pounds. Well, let's not go with that number. That's too overwhelming. I said, well, today's Monday. So by next Monday, let's just say they're 198. Okay. Well,
Hmm.
by next Monday, you're 196. So get that new number in your head. I'm 196, I'm 196, I'm 196, I'm 196. And let your mind and your body start believing you. So you're 196. So then you'll start being aware of what you put in your mouth. You'll probably be more determined to start working out, because you only have to lose 2 pounds. Well, what do I have to do to lose 2 pounds instead of 20? Because then we just give up and overwhelm because it's
Yeah.
such a big number to lose, rather than saying, hey, I can lose 2 pounds. What can I do this week to lose 2 pounds? Ooh, I got more water to drink. All right.
So with this, there seems to be a focus on continual improvement and goal setting. Is it okay to be just okay with who you are right now, and I'm as perfect as I'm ever going to be right now? Or is there a need as human beings to set those goals, do you think?
Well, I'm perfect just the way I am right now, but I always got room for better.
Mm,
Always got room for more. But I
absolutely.
mean, the average person, I believe, doesn't have a lot of good self-confidence or self-esteem. I mean, if they're comfortable and I mean, I'm happy the way I'm inside and outside. It's both ideal. I like my inside and I like my outside.
So it's a
It's a
complementary
good
thing.
match.
Absolutely.
What's that?
It's a complementary thing.
Sure, and I can compliment myself. I love being me. I love my body weight. I love my body figure.
Hmm.
But again, a lot of us can't say that we love, value, and trust ourselves to because we don't believe it, because there's that little voice in our heads that wants to give us that self-doubt. And to comment on what you said earlier about the number of thoughts, if you ask Surrey how many thoughts there are, supposedly there's like 50 to 100,000. So
Wow.
a couple of weeks ago, one of our trainers said, okay, let's go with 75,000 thoughts a day. Well, that means there's 67 thoughts going on in 1 second. if you break it down. So our goal is supporting people to have less thoughts. But at least you're going to have thoughts. At least let them also be some good on your good side. Like, come on now, Karrie, let's win the game. Because I tell people, you've heard that comment, me, myself, and I. Well,
Yep.
me, myself, and I are all getting along. We all have to figure it out together. But me, myself, and I is the coach, the cheerleader, and the player. So I have to be all of that. So I have to cheer myself, I have to coach myself, and I got to play the game. To play the game of life is called winning.
Yeah.
So when we train people, and it's almost like being a sports player on a sport, because you have a coach, you have a game to play, you don't look back at the last move you made, you keep on going, you play the game to get the ball in the hoop or the ball at the end of
the field.
the goal.
Yep.
Right, but once you're off the field, we're not living that same life. So the game is called life. So why aren't you living it as deliberately and effectively as you would a sport? Why aren't you playing that hard and that committed to keep winning?
That makes absolute sense, and this idea of getting out of your head and starting to take control and living in the now. It's all very relevant, powerful stuff, Karrie. Now, I want to know from the mechanical perspective, what are the steps people are going to take to, I guess, apply, and when they want to do that, where are they going to go to find you?
Oh, well, absolutely. They can find me in many different places. I mean, one, I'm on LinkedIn. I know my name is spelled rather different, so I don't know. I mean, it's Karrie, and the pronunciation of my last name is Klimas, like climbing to success, Klimas. I'm also available at Karrie at SDLMcoaching.com. That stands for Self-Discovery Life Mastery Coaching, SDLMcoaching.com. I mean, my information's on LinkedIn. I've got my phone number there, my email there, my calendar link is there. So if they want to schedule 30 minutes to connect, learn more about each other, and if they feel what I'm sharing is of practical value and they're interested, I do offer a complimentary introduction so they can actually get a test drive of our winning strategy and really experience a powerful transformation, learning a 3-minute exercise and how to be present, and then looking at the different areas of their life that they can get honest and real how they feel about it, and if they're ready to make that change and seeing those areas in their lives that are 2s and 3s, poor, fair, good,
Mm-hmm.
and start, being held accountable to start, living the ideal life they want to live that's satisfactory or happiness, fulfillment, joy, successful, and telling themselves that every day that that's the vision. They connect to that vision every day, and they're connected to a mission statement. Becoming that leader they want to become. And then they're setting goals.
I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling all of these things coming through this call today, Karrie. And it's fairly apparent that if you hang around the people like yourself that can step your energy up to the next level, you're going to see some amazing results. And as is customary, Karrie, I'm going to make all of the links back to your wonderful services and your team and the people that you evolve around on the website. No matter where you see this call, you will find the links back to Karrie. And Karrie, with all that being said, thank you so very much for spending some time with me on the My Future Business show today.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you having me, and anybody I can do to support them to live their highest and best. I look forward to us connecting. So I always wish everybody the best, as I believe in their greatness.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.